everybody, my name is Becca and welcome back to another book review. And in this book review, we are going to be discussing Darkest Star by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This one's my new baby. If you guys don't know, this is Jennifer L. Armentrout's new series, and it's kind of like a continuation series to the Lux novels that she had in the past, except this series is called the Origin series, and we got a few new and interesting characters. Well, not really new, because if you've read the Lux series, you've heard of these characters before, you've interacted with them before, you've loved them before. And if you guys have not read the Lux books, you need to read them. I feel like everyone in the book community has read these books because they're so good, and they're just like a staple. Like, you have to read them. They're amazing. One of the best books I've ever read. Once I picked up the first book in the Lux series, my book lover life changed for the better. And Jennifer L. Armentrout's been one of my favorite authors since. This lady can write. This lady can write very well. So if you don't know, the Lux books are about aliens. I'm talking about otherworldly aliens that are kind of hot. If you read the books, you know what I'm talking about. But please, if you have not read the Lux books, go read them and then read this book, because this book, you just cannot read this book without the Lux books. I mean, you could, but there's a lot of stuff you're missing out on. You're missing out on so many characters. And I think in the beginning, there's something that is explained about this book that you would understand if you read the other books. And if you have read the Lux books, well, let me just give you a little scope on what this book is about. This book is about a girl named Evelyn Dasher. This book takes place, I believe, 5 years after the war with the aliens in the last book. So she's living in the world after the war, after all this destruction that happened. And it's really fun seeing how the world is after all of that happened, how people treat the Lux people in this book. One night, Evelyn goes with her friend Heidi to a club, and this is the club that the one and only Luke runs. Luke is in this book. I always called him Luce because his name is spelled L-U-C, but I found out that you actually pronounce his name like Luke. I kind of like Luce better, but since his name is Luke, we'll go with Luke. When she's in this alien/human club, there she meets Luke and they have a conversation, and he tells her he's not very nice to her. He's kind of a jerk towards her. Tells her she really doesn't belong here. Why are you here? Are you having any fun? I don't think you're having any fun. You should leave. And then all of a sudden the club gets raided, and stuff just gets crazy, and Luke is there, and bonds are formed. I have been waiting for this book ever since the last book in the Lux series came out, when we found out that Luke was getting his own book and his own girl. I was just so pumped to read this book, and I read this book so quickly because I just could not put it down. Like, I needed to make more videos, but I couldn't stop reading this book because it's just, there's never a boring part. One of my favorite parts about reading this book was reading what the world was like after the war happened, because it's very interesting how everyone has changed now, knowing that there are an alien race living amongst everyone. This story was amazing. I loved it. I think it was a perfect first book in her continuation series, and I think it's just gonna get even better. Jennifer writes such funny characters. I don't think I read a book where her character isn't hilarious. Some of the stuff that came out of these characters' mouths just had me laughing out loud. I loved seeing Luke. I loved our main character. I loved seeing some of our characters from the last series. It was just like coming home. So that is all I'm gonna say for the non-spoilery section. I rated this book a 5 out of 5 stars, obviously. Make sure to go pick this book up, read it, and then you can come back and we can discuss this book together. Okay guys, do you like my stars? I tried to match with this beautiful cover. I definitely love this cover better than the old Lux covers because, let's be honest, those were a little bit cheesy with the main guy on the cover. Right from the beginning, I was just so captured because I knew she was going into this club, and we all know who owns and runs that club. Luke. Our main man, Luke. It is so weird calling him Luke instead of Luce. When she was talking to Luke, Did anybody else just cringe because she was thinking all these thoughts, and you know Luke can read minds, and she was saying he smelled so yummy and that he had kissable lips, and I was like, no, 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 no. He can hear everything that you're saying in your head. A little bit embarrassing, but because not all origins can read minds, but Luke, he's a lucky guy, can read minds. Every single time she said something so weird in her brain, either about Luke or about something else, and he would just smirk. Like, I knew this dude is listening in to her thoughts. Invasion of privacy. But honestly, if I had that ability, I would be peeping into a lot of people's minds. I mean, I just would. So in this book, the luxen have assimilated into society. They wear like wristbands or some type of like wrist thing that makes them not be able to turn into their true forms. And a lot of the times the luxen that aren't registered, if they aren't registered, they get captured. So my question is like, what happens to them if they get captured? Like, we saw that family at the beginning when she was looking for her phone and got attacked. But we found out that when Damon and Archer were trying to get them into like a safe place, they got captured. So like my question is like, what happens to all those luxen that aren't registered and they don't have the disablers around their wrists? The luxen go to school, and everybody knows that the luxen are there. If I was there, I would try to be friends with all of them, but that's not the case for pretty much all these students in this high school. Everyone was so mean to the luxen. They were like protesting, and they're just trying to enjoy their time and eat lunch. And here's these stupid, whatever her name was. What was her name? What was her? It's so irrelevant that I don't even remember. She needs to be put into her place, whatever her name is. I just was waiting for someone to just like punch her. But like, one of my favorite parts was when Evelyn and James saw that luxen boy, and he was just standing by his locker, and these two mean boys were just staring at him, looking like they wanted to jump him. And they walked him to his class and tried to talk to him, was just being so friendly. And that was honestly one of my favorite parts in this entire book. Next to all the Luke and Evelyn scenes, I just loved them together. I love seeing Luke and Evelyn together. Well, Nadia, because that's really her name, Nadia. I wonder if she's ever gonna go back to being that name. I wonder if she'll ever get her memories back. Probably not. But I'm hoping we get a few like maybe flashbacks, a little bit of flashbacks between her and Luke from the previous books, because I looked this up. Once we found out that Evelyn was actually Nadia, oh my gosh, plot twist, I really did not see that coming at all. There was a little clues here and there about it, but wow. So then I went back and I read the previous books, and Nadia was a character that we saw Luke with. She was really, really sick in that book, but we see her and they just look like they're so special, and Luke is so sweet because he's like, I'm not lucky enough to date her or her be my girlfriend. Oh, little Luke, I love you so much. The creepy parts in this book was when those girls would go missing, and then they would just be found in the high school or outside of the high school, and their eyes were like burnt out. First off, what was the point of that? Why? Like, I know why, but like, why the eyeballs? Was there a reason? Probably not. Micah was one crazy origin in the last books. I knew as soon as that origin looked at Evie and said, tell him that I want him to play with me, I was like, oh no. You're Micah. You're that crazy little boy Micah. And it was like so weird because he was like 17 years old when he should be 10 years old. It is so sad to see the consequences of what the Daedalus Project did to all these children, because they took their like humanity away and like made them pretty crazy, and then also like gave them this serum that like makes them age prematurely. And the fact that Luke had to kill all these children because they were too dangerous. One of them threw cats out of a 3-story building window. I would love to read that story, honestly. I would like to see how that went down with Damon, because we know how Damon is very protective of cats. We learned this crazy backstory of Nadia / Evie. This was genius. The whole thing with Nadia, like, I never really would have seen that coming. And I also love that Jennifer didn't just like make up this character like this first book, like Nadia was a character in the last book, so we saw her and we kind of put the puzzles together that Luke did like Nadia in like the last books in the Lux series. It's just crazy, and it really did blow my mind reading this and reading all of this. I loved seeing Evie's reaction to everything, and then her just freaking out and Damon's there and he's not very he's just very sarcastic about like everything, which I love that about him. But when a girl is going through a crisis, Damon, don't joke about it. So Evie's mom, Sylvia, I don't even remember her being in the last books. Or Jason Dasher, I don't remember those characters really. So I can't tell you if they were in the last books. But one of my questions is, if Sylvia is a luxen and Jason wasn't really a lover of the luxen, so I assume because he was working with the Daedalus project, why were they married? How did they meet? Were they really in love? Like, I just want to know more about that backstory. I loved seeing Luke and Evelyn's relationship grow, because even though Evelyn / Nadia was the true love of Luke, if you go back and read those parts where she's in it at the beginning, even though he was a jerk in the beginning, you could see that he actually could care about her, because everyone just kept telling her, Luke will never hurt you. You will always be safe with Luke. And she's just like, I just met this guy. I am not safe with him. He's a weird luxen kid. And he called her Peaches because of her lotion, but then he said it really wasn't because of her lotion. It was just the way she smelled. I cannot wait for the second book to come out this year. I am so ready. I love being back with my alien babies. I hope in the next books we see Damon and Kat and Dee and some of the OG characters from the last books. Oh my gosh. Okay. Also, I have another question. So when Luke was explaining that he gave these origin kids to people that he trusted, he said that Kat got thrown out of a window, but then there was another friend of Kat and Damon's that got killed. Who was that friend? I want to know. Is it somebody that I know? Is it somebody from the last books, or just another random friend that they made in Colorado? Overall, I think this book was done so well. It was so funny, so interesting. It was so great just being back in this world and with some characters that I just adore, because I love Luke in the last books, and it was just cool seeing him from like a different light, like a caring person, because in the last books, I mean, he was nice and all and he helped people out, but you didn't really see that caring side of him until you see him and Evie together. So that is my thoughts on this wonderful book. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Make sure to leave down in the comments below what you guys thought about this book, some of your theories for the next book, because honestly, I don't know where we go from here. I hope there's not another war. So that is it for today. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!